let's analyze this. So, retired former WWE superstar and possible future Hall of Famer. I think it depends. The quote-unquote anti-diva PAIGE recently did an interview at Royal Rumble Access live in Phoenix, Arizona with Chris Van Vliet. In the interview, she talks about her retirement and what that process was like. I remember when they announced that she was going to retire back in early last year, early 2018, and I was very shocked. I felt real bad for her because I believe at the time she was 25, because now she's 26. Yeah, now she's 26. So for her to retire at the age of 25 is just, it's very frustrating. I mean, not from my perspective, but I know that for someone like her, it would be frustrating and just very miserable, especially when you were part of a family business and this is all you've ever known growing up, and you've been doing this since you were 13. So I definitely understand. I can't relate, obviously, but I can understand what that process was like and how difficult it was to go through that, because not many wrestlers can say that they were forced to retire at such a young point in their career. I think that the biggest problem was the fact that she started wrestling when she was 13. And no disrespect to what I'm about to say, but when it comes to women, their bodies don't hold up physically in terms of physical stress and physical turmoil, with the exception of course, but women don't get pregnant every day. You know, that's not like you don't get pregnant every single day. But women don't go through, how do I say it? They're not as used to going through physical turmoil as much as men are. Men they're naturally bigger in terms of their overall bone structure. You know, their muscle structure of their bodies are naturally bigger than women. So they can handle the physical turmoil for an extended period of time compared to women. That's just the truth. Now, some women are able to overcome the challenge of shortened physical turmoil by going through strict and intense training regimens such as bodybuilding, things of that nature, and just being involved in whatever sport that they're involved in. Also, genetics plays a role, and luck as well. But for the most part, women, their bodies can't handle what men's bodies handle, at least for an extended period of time. Rarely do you hear about women wrestling into their 40s and 50s. Why? Because they don't hold up that much, you know, compared to the men. That's just facts. So for PAIGE to issue and also be developed, because remember, she started when she was 13. Your body is not fully developed by the age of 13. So just with those two things combined, it was only a matter of time before she was forced to retire at a young age. Especially for how much of a physical style that she had, especially when she was in NXT and for like her first run in the main roster before she got hurt in 2016. But anyway, let's see what they have to say with this interview that Chris Van Vliet is giving PAIGE.
Never say never, though.
Never say never. I mean, maybe in about 4 years, but I don't think you're going to want to see.
True. I could see her attempting a Shawn Michaels-like comeback. But we'll see. We'll see.
Like a 60-odd-year-old girl in the ring, you know?
Chris, hey, good to meet you. How's your day been so far?
It's been really incredible here at Access. Are we live right now?
Sure. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, are we joking? Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I'm here because obviously it's Royal Rumble Access, so that's where we get to meet and greet with all our fans, which is incredible. But I'm also here to advertise Fighting with my family.
Yes.
Because the movie about my life.
Hold on, quick question. What the hell are they gonna have Paige do now? See, not the SmackDown manager anymore. And cheating in the ring anymore. So, like, for the last few weeks, I've literally been wondering what to do. Because it seemed having her as an ambassador for the time being until they figure out what else they want to do.
It's coming out. You may have heard of it or may not, but now you do.
Well,
so,
if you follow The Rock, he's been talking about it for months and months and months.
Non-stop, yeah. So it actually comes out February 14th in New York and LA. And then everywhere else on the 23rd, so make sure.
Finally, that movie is coming out. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna check it out. I'm not too interested in it because I don't know how I feel about it, just in general. In terms of the cast, I'm very 50-50 on the cast. I'm very uncertain about the cast. And I don't know if the casting was done in a way that was convenient enough to be like, okay, watching this movie, I could definitely see why these actors were chosen. I don't know. It's just something about the casting that was off for me.
You get a ticket, tune in because it's freaking awesome, dude.
So The Rock's production company is producing this. How hands-on is Dwayne himself with this?
He's very hands-on. It's pretty much his baby, you know, and he just has a wonderful team too that always hands-on. Stephen Merchant, who directed and wrote it too, he was hitting me up every single day. Just everyone was like, they love this movie and I love this movie and we just hope you love this movie.
What do you think of the Paige in the movie?
Oh, she did incredible. She was so good. She made me aesthetically more pleasing to look at.
That is difficult, I think.
Fantastic. She did an amazing job. Great actress.
I will admit, as a big wrestling fan myself, I shed a tear during your retirement speech.
Oh, you did?
I did. And you did as well.
I did a lot. Yeah, I did, yeah.
How much planning went into that?
It was shocking. It was very, very shocking. I just want to say, you know, what happened with the spot during the match at that house show, that tag match with when Sasha kicked Paige in the back of the neck out of nowhere in the corner. It seemed like it was really out of nowhere, and it seemed very unnecessary for Sasha to do. I've gone back and I've watched that footage of that kick about 3-4 times since it's happened. I haven't seen it in a few months, but I went back to watch it a few times, and it was very random and almost uncalled for. But at the end of the day, I don't really blame Sasha as much as the majority of fans like to just hit it home that it was Sasha's fault. This is wrestling, people. I don't know how else to explain it to you. This is wrestling. People are going to get hurt. Some are going to be fortunate to not get hurt as much, and some people are going to end up getting hurt a lot. It is what it is. You know, it's very difficult to have a wrestling career and not get hurt. And it's even more difficult being a woman with a frail, I don't want to say frail, but with a smaller, more sensitive body frame and structure as opposed to a male, and have a career in wrestling. Like, it's even harder for that. So, I mean, come on. You know, was it bad luck? Was it bad timing? Was it an out of nowhere spot that happened in the match that was uncalled for? Yes. But we can't spend the rest of our lives blaming Sasha, because at the end of the day, it's wrestling, not ballet. And accidents happen, unfortunate things happen. It is what it is. It's not just a part of wrestling, but it's part of life. You're gonna go through some things that are very unfortunate, that you didn't expect to happen, that you did not think in a million years would happen, that you didn't even plan for, but it happens. Now, how you react to it and how you move forward, that's what it comes down to. And I gotta say, Paige, I respect her for being able to handle this period of time for her very well. A lot, but she's been able to handle it a lot better than most people would. Because I know a lot of people, I think the first wrestler that I can think of is the Renegade. Remember what happened with the Renegade back in the 90s? You know, he came in, he got signed by WCW. They basically made him an Ultimate Warrior ripoff, but it worked. It worked. They pushed him for a little bit. He was slowly coming up to the top of the card, and then all of a sudden they released him. I believe it was due to budget cuts. I'm not sure. I believe it has something to do with budget cuts. But they released him due to that, and what happened? He fell into a deep depression. He didn't want to go anywhere else. He couldn't see himself working in the WWF at the time, you know, nor was he going to get signed. And he didn't want to wrestle, you know, on the independent scene either, because he knew he wasn't going to make that much money. WCW was paying him the most money he had ever gotten in his entire life, I believe. So, you know, he sank into a deep depression when he got fired by WCW, because he really thought that they were behind him. And when they let him go, he sank into a deep depression, retired from wrestling, was never able to get out of that, and he ended up killing himself. So a lot of wrestlers just can't handle that pain, that trauma, that traumatic experience of having to stop doing what you love because you're seen as too frail or too injury prone. You know, this is something that they worked their whole lives to do, and you know, it gets pulled from under the rug from them. It sucks. But how you handle it and how you move on is very important. And Paige has good people behind her. You know, you can say what you will about all of the controversies with Del Rio and that whole thing with Brad Maddox and Kofi Kingston. Oh man, no, that whole thing with Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods, allegedly Xavier Woods, but we all know it was him. Say what you will about that, man. She still has a lot of people behind her who actually care about her and who are loyal to her. And as a human being on earth, it is very important to have that. So
Speech.
Not much at all. I mean, like they wanted me to say like a certain thing in there, but like I didn't know what it was for. But they were like, just make sure you say the sentence. The rest, just speak from the heart. So yeah, not a lot planned at all. It was like, okay, you're gonna do your speech today, and I was like, okay.
I'm pretty sure the speech was similar to when Daniel Bryan had to do his retirement speech, and in the back before he went out, Vince told him, just make sure you do the yes thing at the end. So they probably told her, just make sure you do the this is my house, or this will always be my house catchphrase that she used to have.
That was the most nerve-wracking speech I've ever done too, because usually, you know, it's just like wrestling promos and stuff like that, but they're like, you're about to give up your whole life right now, and I'm like, well, let me take a second. Yeah.
But we heard Daniel Bryan give up.
And speeches are really emotional. They are. Heavy stuff.
Very similar speech, and now he's wrestling again. So,
but his is a little bit different to mine. Like mine's all spinal. It's kind of like Edge and Stone Cold. You know, it's just the spinal stenosis. Is no way I can get back in the ring again. So.
And on top of that, she already has what is it, sclerosis? Am I pronouncing that correctly? One of you peeps can tell me in the comments if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But she already has sclerosis, which is her spine is literally bent. It's bent over. So when you see her standing up straight, she's not really standing up straight. At least if you were to take away her flesh and just see her skeleton, she wouldn't be standing up straight, because the sun is not standing up straight. So, and even when I see her stand now, like in pictures, she's kind of, I don't want to say she's not hunched over, but she's sort of tilted, and like you could tell.
Never say never, though.
Never say never. I mean, maybe in about 4 years' time, but I don't think you're going to want to see like a 60-odd-year-old girl in the ring, you know?
Did you talk to Edge or Stone Cold?
Well, you're not going to be gone that long. You're going to try to make a comeback within, I'd say, the next 3 to 5 years. And by then, you'll only be in your early 30s, nearing mid-30s.
Told before this and say, hey, what are my options?
I did, actually. The night that I was given the retirement speech, Edge was backstage. So I sat down with him and talked to him, and he was like, I promise you, you're going to feel so much better after this. Like, you know it was coming, so when you finally deliver it, there'll be like a whole weight off your shoulders. And he goes, and then when you get on stage, after you promo, just close your eyes and like take it all in. And that's exactly what he did. And he's incredible. He's like definitely one of my heroes. So,
We're here at the Royal Rumble, don't you wish?
I do, of course I do. I miss out on everything now, but
Damn, Chris. What are you, like, are you trying to piss her off? Are you trying to make her think about what could have been, man? Like, what kind of silly ass question was that? Of course she wishes she was in the Royal Rumble. Of course she wishes she was a part of all of this great women's wrestling that's going on right now. What kind of silly ass question is that, man? Come on.
they're gonna knock out Todd Bay. They're gonna steal the show 100%.
It is awesome to see you. Look forward to seeing your film as well.
Thank you. Awesome to see you too. Watch it February 14th, February 23rd.
There it is. What a Valentine's present.
Right? Come on, boys. The women want to go watch this movie, so check out. I like started on my words. I'm sorry about that.
We got it. Thank you so much, Paige.
Yeah, thank you. I'll give you a hug.
All right. So
Alright. That was Paige. That was a bad time for me to pause the video. So that was Paige, former two-time Divas champion, talking about her retirement and what that process was like. She is definitely the biggest what could have been story. I can't begin to imagine the amazing feuds she would have with the women if she were wrestling today. And Paige really could have went down as an all-time great, but sadly I don't think she really will get that recognition because of the fact that her career was so short. But she does have classic matches that you could still go back and watch and know that this is what she was, and this was her at the very top of her game. It's a shame because she didn't even reach her prime. She wasn't even in her prime when she had to retire last year. You know, like when I think about athletic prime for a wrestler, I think from, I'd say, the age of 26 up until about 32, 33, and then they start breaking down around 34, 35 years old, with the exception of certain guys who are able to switch up their style, change their mental approach, adapt, and be able to still wrestle at an elite level into their late 30s, early 40s. So Paige wasn't even in her prime yet, and it's very, you know, it's heartbreaking for some people. It's tough. But she still has classic matches that she has left behind. Sadly, not many, but still. Say what you will about the matches with AJ Lee, that was a classic feud. The match with Emma, you know, I believe it was at NXT Arrival, if I'm not mistaken, for the NXT Women's title. You know, she was the inaugural NXT Women's Champion and held the belt for a long time. I believe up until Asuka. I believe Paige had the longest reign up until Asuka, because Paige held it for, what, like 305 days, something like that. And then she ended up holding that and the Divas title at the same time, and then they forced her to vacate the NXT Women's title. And then Asuka ended up breaking her title reign record. So that's it for this interview. Paige is the biggest what could have been story. It's a shame, but she did have a career. Not many people could say they made it to the WWE. You know, I just finished watching the Nigel McGuinness documentary earlier this week, and if you haven't seen it, go back and see it. So at least Paige made it. I'm out.